Go.
Fun fact for y'all. Today, on September 25th, is the day we're recording. It is the same amount of time of sunlight as it is nighttime. And it happens 2 times a year. So it's equal daytime, equal nighttime. So I'm going to bring this kind of like on a wrestling side of things. What do you love? And wrestling, doesn't matter where.
Okay.
And you hate just as much. It could be anything. So what do you love equally as much as you hate it?
This is easy for me.
Okay, but then E, what you got? Because I got to think actually to myself too.
What's easy, Matt?
The damn crowds. I
That's
love
a
them
great
when they're
one.
hot and they're great and they're smart, and I detest them when it's the what chance, it's the we want tables, it's the all that when it doesn't make sense. That is 100% the answer for me.
Wow. What's yours, Rhodesia?
I was asking you first to buy me time. But I got one though, because Matt got me. Matt got my brain thinking. Mine is the high flying, flip flopping, and all that good stuff that I love in a match, in a wrestling match, especially AEW. How you can go super fast, move after move after move. I love it because it's exciting. I'm tuned in, but at the same time, you don't sell a move. So you're like, where's the storytelling in that?
It's a good one too.
Man, I love how Rhodesia came up with the question and didn't have the answer to her own question. I love that.
But I mean, it's unique. My answer is like legit. I had to think about it.
I get tickled to having a conversation with you. They're so special. These times that we share. We're gonna look back on these like when we like. Well, no, I'm not gonna be around when I'm 80.
Time to answer this
I'm not gonna be around when I'm 80.
Time. Come on. Time right
oh
now.
no, I'm not buying time because I'm not gonna answer the question. So I'm just actually just have a conversation. That's what we do.
Lord have mercy. With y'all. We starting off, y'all, on episode. Matt's gonna intro the pod because it's actually on episode. We're gonna start off the pod 166. We're gonna start off this pod with him not already answering the opening question. God, this better not be an omen of what the show is gonna be like today.
Well, y'all gotta see like those type of questions. Y'all gotta set me up with because honestly, say my original nickname is Easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate anything. I can't think of anything I would hate.
I know a couple things you hate.
And then I wouldn't say I have anything where I hate and love. See, if I get to the point to where I hate it, I just hate it. Ain't no love with me. If I get to that point,
in the same sentence,
if I get to that point, it's all one way.
There are so many things I can think of that you hate.
Mm-hmm.
But but love though? Hate but love?
That's a different question.
The yin to the yang, yeah. It's the yin to the yang.
Oh yeah, like syringes and mouths and paper bags overheads.
But you don't like that. But what's the yin to the yang? Like it's a full circle. What is it that you equally like about something and then you equally dislike? Because again, hate is a powerful word.
He enjoys hardcore matches. He just don't like the hardcore matches. That's all.
That probably could be a good okay.
I mean, yeah, I don't like a hard. I mean, it's not my preferred match, but I wouldn't even say I dislike them. If they're done well, they're good, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot. But that was a good question. But the crowd was number one for me. I probably could keep thinking and give you more, but we just wanted a cool question to start. I didn't know where you were going. You was talking about same amount of time as
you know I was about to get.
Yeah, I was a little
my
worried.
Interstellar bag on that. I really absolutely was about to get it.
I wasn't worried for DJ. I was right there with you. I was like, where's she going with this?
And then you brought up Interstellar. Yeah. And man, I completely dropped the ball last week. We had that awesome Little Matt, tell us a quick story, then we'll intro the pod. Matt was probably 3 or 4 years old. We take him to go see Santa Claus one year. Take him go see the Santa Claus. Little Matt hype in the back seat. He ready to go. Now, I know what Lil Matt won, right? Lil Matt won a 3DS at the time. Lil Matt won games. I think he won a John Cena. Like, he's got a lot that he wants. Stand in this long-ass line for Santa Claus. Looking at Lil Matt. Look over Lil Matt. Lil Matt got the pressure face. Lil Matt get a little nervous now. It's like, all right, man. Like, you know what you're going to tell Santa what you want? Yeah, okay. All right, no. All right, cool, man. Lil Matt get up there with Santa. Santa asked Lil Matt, what do you want for Christmas? Lil Matt said something green. That was all he said. Take the picture with Santa, 3 of us. We leave out.
Wait. Can I pause you real quick? Because the green could be interpreted.
Oh, yeah, he didn't mean money. He didn't mean anything outside of just something green. Okay? We go outside, and I guess that cold air hit Matt. Matt woke up. Matt said, whoa, we got to go back. I was like, ain't no going back, dude. Like, you getting something green now. So, that's hilarious. But so I kind of felt like that last week. We had that awesome question about movies, and there was so many. I felt that way. Like, after we were done, I was like, oh, I got to go back. We need to press recording, and I got so many awesome movies that I enjoy, but I think I put them in the YouTube comments. But anyway, so yes, so welcome to the TFW podcast. That's Freakin' Wrestling. We already said it. This is episode 166. When we get to episode 666, we got to skip that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we just got to go from 665 to 667. We are now the best once a week wrestling podcast for
Let's
now.
go.
That's out. The best kept secret of wrestling podcast. Y'all know how we get down. Shout out to the freaks out there. Listeners, supporters of the pod. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We are Three the Hard Way.
Three the hard way.
Mr. Knight is always going to represent for us. We appreciate that. I am Matt. That there is Eshaun. That there is Rhodesia. There's only one way to start this podcast, and I'm not sure how much we're going to be able to talk outside of these two things. But this damn Samoan family. What I wanted to start this podcast with as like a cold open question was, can you think of a time that we had two segments or matches on two different shows that were not connected at all outside of them being family members that had you on the edge of your seat the way the Cody and Roman face-to-face was on Friday, and then the Jey Uso Intercontinental Championship title win on Monday? But I couldn't even think of the answer. But let's start there with Friday. I know it's almost a week, but we ain't talked yet. The three of us haven't really talked at all. I don't even think Rhodesia and I have talked about this, so I'm excited to get your guys' thoughts. But
I haven't talked to myself.
That's a good thing.
You're right.
Where do y'all want to start? Because there are so many different places we can start with in regards to just how it was shot. I mean, we can just, of course, go on about the production and such. But I guess where I want to start, and when y'all can take the conversation wherever you guys want to take the conversation. Respect my mind. If you didn't walk away from the Roman Reigns Cody Rhodes segment and not think Cody Rhodes is the heel in this particular situation, you are lying to yourself, you are lying to everybody else, and you are just completely jaded for what reality is. Cody Rhodes could not have come across any more smug than he did. Cody Rhodes could not have come across any more crash than what he did. And Cody Rhodes, perfect timing, could not have come across any more like Homelander than he did on that face-to-face with Roman Reigns in Atlanta. That's where I'll start with. But where would you guys like to start with that incredible piece of, I don't want to use the word cinema because that's been done. I don't want to, all those kind of words, but damn, was that incredible. Well, are we in agreement it was incredible?
Yes.
Okay, so we got that out the way. So no need of, was it good? I saw a couple people try to, it's like, get the hell out of here. It was fantastic. Like,
but I would call that cinema because I think it was theatrical. They filmed it as such. They filmed it as such. So yeah, I know we have these buzzwords nowadays, and people gravitate to all of those words, but it was cinema. And yes, Cody looked heelish, but so did Roman. I mean, coming away from that, it felt as if, and I have no experience and no knowledge of it, how it really goes down, but I would almost felt, I think I said out loud, looked like a mafia deal, like somebody in the mob, like they come in, two made men, they coming up, they're going to talk, just, hey, about to lay the ground rules, and all right, bye. Roman was the one who actually said, you're in my way.
Of life.
Well, he said that the second time, but yeah.
He sure did.
Yeah, and at that point, he felt that so hard. He almost was like, you are this cockroach that I cannot kill because y'all just keep living for millions of years.
Yeah, great segment. Two of my favorite wrestlers in the current era. To go into the Cody Hill, I've been hearing about that. I think that's just Cody hate again. Cause I want to talk about it.
No way. Come on, E.
I want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's because like this is only coming from people who aren't fans of the Cody character as presently presented. Let's talk about the whole thing. We talk about how Cody comes across. How did Roman come across in that segment? He's a babyface right now. He came across smug and arrogant. How and let's take a back seat in that segment. You stand across an arrogant and smug man who's saying that the city that you grew up in, blood, sweat, family, raising the family in, man says, hey, because I played football for 3 years, this is my city. This is my town.
Where they were, E. They were in the football stadium that Roman Reigns played for 3 years.
He said, this is my city. He ain't just talk about he said, this is my field, right? Mm-hmm. He said, like, and we're talking about all the great Georgia Tech players. He's the greatest of them all. And because he played football there for a couple years, this is his city, right? What is Cody? And we're talking about a man who, like the anti, the anti-Cody fans who say, oh, he's acting like a B. And this is we say we're a fan of his, but we call him a bitch on TV. I mean, on the show and things. We're a fan and we respect him.
Let's manifest this.
We are on TV. We're on TV.
Let's manifest this, show.
Like, right? Like, so he come out, he talking to a dude that he don't like. And then as soon as they start talking, the dude openly disrespects, like, hey, man, this is my city. How was he supposed to come across talking to this man? How humble can this man be? I mean, he talking to a dude he don't like.
Now, to be fair, E, last week you said it's just not in Cody's character to come across braggadocious. You said
he didn't brag. What I'm saying is that how is he supposed to talk to this man when the first time they come across each other, this man is saying that his city is his? Like, man, I'm raising a family here. My family is here. He came across the way a dude will come across, and he's talking to somebody he don't like. That's constantly disrespecting him. Hey, your title that you won is my title. The city that you live in is my city. And now that I'm back, all of it's mine again, and you just in my way. How is he supposed to come across? But right? So we talk about how smug Cody is, but he's standing against the super arrogant man of the whole world, the one, the entitled one, the Roman Reigns, because he's not even the head of the table. I am the head of the table. I'm the original head of the table. I'm the champion, even though I don't have the championship. I'm the head of the table without a tribe.
Well, it's not original. I'm the only tribal chief, as he said a week and a half ago.
So let me ask you, Ease. Let's take Katrina. Perfect example for Katrina. Katrina don't watch week to week. Say if Katrina was so disconnected, she doesn't know who's the heel and who's the baby face. And you just sat her down with you and said, hey, babe, watch this. And you don't give her any type of inkling of what has happened. She's only going off of what she's seen. Do you think she would have walked away, keep it completely honest, as saying, oh, that Cody Rhodes guy is the good guy and the Roman Reigns guy is a bad guy? Do you think she would say that? Do you think she would say they're both good guys? Do you think she would say they're both bad guys? What do you think her, just based off of that video package alone, what do you think she would say?
She may be confused on who's the babyface or who's the heel, because neither one of them were portrayed positively as like Roman is acting in a way that made him cool, right? So he hasn't changed, and he shouldn't. He can play that same character, and as we see, we don't judge him. We're just talking about how Cody is portrayed, right? But Roman is the babyface. These are two baby faces.
Not necessarily.
These are two baby. No. Let's keep it real. He's positioned. He's positioned as he's going across mega heels. They lined up these mega heels to go against him. He is not. This is not a heel. When Roman and Solo are in the ring together, it's not going to be heel versus heel. This is a baby face versus a heel. Roman is a baby face.
I did get a kick out of on SmackDown when they were like, Solo returns to SmackDown this Friday. And I'm thinking like, man, hey, I love Solo.
Ain't nobody checking for you right now.
We not there right now, man.
Yeah,
we only care about
like,
the next chapter of Cody and Roman. Like Solo can stay away until Solo can go to Atlanta right now. He can leave tonight for Atlanta and just stay there until October 5th. And I think the majority of us will be okay with Solo not being on TV for 2 weeks, as long as we get Cody and Roman. Rhodesia, so same thing. Like, of course you watch, but do you see why I say I think Cody came across as a heel if you only look at what happened on Friday night?
Absolutely. I actually led by saying that both of them looked heelish to me in that promo. For starters, you said, what did Cody do to look heelish? He showed up late. That's the number one. You ain't even respect the time, the honoring of the time. I had to wait for you. Yeah, I brought a whole motorcade, but I'm important. I had to wait for you.
Hey, listen, Cody is from Atlanta. Right there. Cody's from Atlanta, and we all show up late. Roman was in Atlanta. We all show up late here.
But Roman was in Atlanta at the same time. He had to get transported.
I said, so now you see who lives here and who doesn't. Cody showed up.
So Cody should have left. Cody should have left earlier.
Listen, Cody should have left
earlier.
Hey, listen, he came from Marietta to Atlanta. Y'all don't know the traffic in this place, man. Like, he ain't just fly in. Like, Roman probably flew in with a helicopter, right? Look, like Cody had to drive in, man. That drive is rough. Getting on 75.
Roman took a smaller airport.
And to be fair, Roman came with like 36 Escalades.
I told you he came as a motorcade.
I'm sure they ran through red lights. Cody came by himself. He wasn't running no red lights.
Yeah, the baby was in the back seat.
But regardless, he still was late. So that right there,
the baby was in the back seat.
He really a heel because he left her in the car. Isn't it hot down there?
No, Brandy in there. She's back there.
Okay, got it. But no, absolutely. But I loved it. Okay, so I'm not going to say anything bad about it. But do we even know why they were meeting outside of selling Atlanta? I get it. But like literally, like for someone who's dumb and stupid, why did they even meet there? Why couldn't they meet at the ring?
They're meeting. Are we talking about kayfabe? Or are we talking about real life?
I'm talking about kayfabe. Just from, again, I'm just this fan watching on TV.
In kayfabe, to make the connection to Bad Blood, to make the connection to this is Cody's hometown. This is where Cody was born and lived. Roman's connection to playing college ball. That's from a kayfabe perspective. Oh, that's why Atlanta means so much. And then the pay-per-views in Atlanta kind of were off to the races there.
And it's pretty cool. Like they're meeting on neutral ground, right?
I love that.
Away from the ring,
and they're having it. I just wanted to know why they met.
And they're having a personal conversation because, like, look, we about to go to war together, man. So let's meet up at the bar, right? Which is the football stadium, and let's talk this out. Let's get on the same page. Let's be on the same
And
court.
I loved it was a pre-tape. Because to your question, we started this entire podcast with where I said I have a love-hate relationship with wrestling crowds.
Yeah,
they determined. Yep, crowd, exactly. Man. Like.
They determine their what you're going to get out of it. You're going to take what they gave.
Somebody put up a video on X that I saw, and they were taping the promo, so you saw the big screen, and they put the last part of the promo up. But that was the only part I saw, where Roman hits him with the "You're in my way," and then he's like, "In my way of life." And when Roman hit that line, the place erupted. And then, of course, when they faded to black, everybody cheered and popped. So we would have gotten that. We would have gotten that instant reaction but you wouldn't be able to get the regular talking, the whispering, the subtle, you know what I mean, pieces that we got with the pre-tape. So I thought it was really, really fantastic. And the other part that I'm super excited about. So I did see some people online where they just talk about why are they even teaming?
Okay, yeah.
I get that. Like, if I wanted to nitpick, we probably could really nitpick that.
Because we're trying to build war games. That's why.
I'll be honest. I don't know. We'll see what happens at Bad Blood. I don't know if they're going to do Bloodline versus Bloodline. I'm not as confident as I was all the way up to this past week.
I agree. But then who else would it be? So who else would it be though?
Well, because now you have to, Roman is by himself besides Cody Rhodes. So are we really going to fast forward the entire story of him finding either 2 or 3 more people to team with where they haven't told that story in 5 or 6 months? I don't know if they do that.
Well, to kind of spin off on Cody, we had some teasers of, is KO mad? Is he okay with it? Is he happy? I mean, I thought KO was about to be pissed at the end of the show. I almost felt like maybe because he hugged him, but I felt like maybe KO's is accepting.
No,
so if
KO's pissed.
But if he's accepting, you can still be pissed, but you can still be accepting because you're a friend. Then maybe KO could be.
KO gonna team with Roman? Oh hell no, that's not happening. That's one.
Well, that's what we're gonna do.
That's one.
Fine.
We gotta come out
here. What else are we gonna do?
What are we doing?
That's fine, but what else are we gonna get? Even on the women's side too, the war game. So unless there's gonna be one war game and it's intergender, and I don't even know how you can even manage something like that. What else do we have? Whatever we get is gonna have to be microwaved, as y'all call it, because we're gonna have to get there in 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
Yeah, right about. So that I'm kind of interested to see for sure, but they got me locked in for Bad Blood. I think the line, because everything like matters what they do. I think the line Cody hit Roman with, in regards to give me your word that you have my back, so I can have yours. There's something about that line to me that means something for that match. I don't like the wording. You get the wording, but it's just something there, and I think that line is going to play itself out in the match.
And just to confirm, who is Solo's partner? Is it Jacob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I was about to say, so who's winning that match? Or more importantly, who's losing that match? Who's taking that pin?
I mean, I could see a world where Cody can take the pin, right?
I think maybe anybody could take that pin, probably minus Jacob. Let's be honest.
One of the Samoans got to take the pin.
Yeah, I think anybody but Jacob should take the. Yeah, anybody but Jacob can take the pin. Yeah.
Wait, so we got to get the Solo and Roman match at some point. What stage will be interesting? Which actually very interesting. Which I actually enjoyed seeing earlier today before I passed out. I took a little nap before the podcast. Is that Roman's advertised for like the next 6 or something like SmackDown, which is that means we're gonna have great. He's gonna be around to tell some layers to the story, right? Which is gonna be great. That's why I was kind of afraid, with Rocky and Roman coming back to this feud. Is like how long are we gonna have them so they can actually add to the story. But I think we're gonna get Roman and Solo at some point. And if Solo were to lose, this would be like 3 straight losses in high profile situations.
But maybe you should though.
So when you go to see Roman and Solo, because this is one of the things to where, like, a lot of times we can kind of tell who the winner of a match is going to be. Like if Solo takes another loss, the next time Solo and Roman face off, we automatically know that Roman's winning. Like it takes some of the intrigue. It's taking some of the intrigue out of it, some of the suspense out of it. Because at this point, Solo lost X amount of matches. So I kind of feel like, damn, they got to give him a win back, so he can kind of create somewhat of a threat to Roman when they actually eventually wrestle. Because at this point, that's not a Royal Rumble match. At this point,
oh hell no, well,
that's a SmackDown match at this point,
right? Unless the point is to not do a Roman Solo and put all your eggs in the Roman Jacob match, you could do that. And then if he takes another pin, like I said, and they turn on him, wins and losses matter, and he goes to Roman's side, you could see that. But there's a world outside of Jacob being pinned. There's a story if Solo gets pinned. There's an absolute story if Roman gets pinned. And depending on which way they go, actually probably would like to see that the most. Roman taking the pin. Either because Cody didn't have his back, either because the bloodline is just too strong for him. But I said before, this is like a redemption story to me for Roman. He said like Roman is the same exact Roman, which he is, and I'm glad he is. He should be the same exact Roman. But he needs to be broken down to the studs. Because I'm still getting back to, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes with Jey Uso. Shocker that he won the Intercontinental Championship. We were out here in the last spot where he brought up the whole Judgment Day thing. I'm like, oh yeah, that's how this is going to finish. Judgment Day interference. And that was not the case. But when that moment happens between Roman and Jey, that needs to be on par with some of the bigger moments in the last 5 or 10 years in WWE. And how do you make that moment happen? You make Jey be the guy. So if he comes and saves Roman, when Roman has nobody else, that makes Jey the guy. This cannot just be a situation of Jey just falls in line because Roman Reigns needs him. And you know the history we have. No, this needs to be a situation where, dude, I am flourishing right now. I'm the head of the table. If we want to have that conversation, I got gold, you don't. I'm by myself. It's just me, Oos. I had the best year of my career without you. Yep. That's the story that I would love to see. So if that means Roman has to take the pin to get there, I'm all about it. There's also a world where Cody takes the pin. I don't love that too much, to be honest, because I think
that probably my second least favorite.
Yeah, I got an issue with champions losing, getting pinned.
But you think about it, Cody can take the pin out of all of them. Okay, he's still the champion. He's still going to be over. He can take a pin. Like I like Roman, his first match back since Mania. Like I don't know about that, right? I mean, it's a world where you can see that, but you know, how many times has he been pinned in the past, 2 years? And it's going to happen, you know, at a Bad Blood tag team. Like, I think you saved that, right? But there's a world where Cody could, right? So when I started thinking about this other day, because I had kind of talked about it before, I said, you know, just mentioning that, like with Jey, like they need to make Jey. Like the Jey should come in here being like kind of like the savior. And this is kind of the start of that. Like, look, he's a champion. He's his own man. He doesn't need to be involved. But I also talked about a world where we thought that maybe Randy or like KO would turn on Cody and kind of maybe that be what takes him out of the bloodline equation, right? So what if at Bad Blood, you know, KO comes down, you know, and we're thinking he's going to kind of try to come out to help Cody at least, right? But he maybe hits Cody with the chair, takes him out of the match, or he gets pinned or some type of way. Or maybe at some point he gets a beat down to where he can't be in the War Games match or something like that. Like, when does the War Games, and how far is it from Bad Blood?
War Games is Survivor Series, so it's the week of Thanksgiving.
So I mean,
Bad Blood is like Bad Blood is 2 weeks away. So you're talking
7
month and a half.
Weeks, yeah.
So there could be a world where KO like takes out Cody to where he can't wrestle in War Games. Like, right, and now they need a partner, right? Because we talk about how can you get him out of that match? Because at this point, he's roped in there. Like he has a thing with Roman. Like they have they're starting to get maybe a rivalry. But before it was more of a bad guy versus good guy. Maybe have like a, you know, like I don't want to say a friendly rivalry, but they're kind of intertwined. Cody's been battling the bloodline for some time now. It will make sense for him to continue to kind of help get rid of this version of the bloodline. But at the same time, why would he? Because if he gets rid of Solo, he's just going to give him back to Roman, and Roman was a big thorn in his side. So it's like, why would he help Roman at this point? Because he's going to strip him back.
And that's why I don't think if they do Bloodline versus Bloodline, of course, I'm here for it. I've been here for it. I just don't know if you fast forward through what we need to get through to get to that point that quick. But Cody shouldn't be involved because Cody's teaming with Roman and Bad Blood. They don't need to team 2 months in a row. For Roman, the last thing Roman said to Cody was, "You're my way in life." That ain't friendly. Why? Nothing can happen in that match in 2 weeks to where Cody should say, "You know what? Let's team again." Nothing should happen. That would happen.
So then it would have to only be a KO and Cody. Because I had said originally
either that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I had originally thought that because we were getting this at Bad Blood, that was the way to slowly bring us into them at War Games. But if y'all saying, and which I kind of see the point again, why am I still teaming with you? Like on either side. We did this once already, regardless of how it ends. I guess the only possible way is if y'all both get royally beat up and y'all like about to throw yourselves in the way of getting hurt for the other person, which I don't know about that. I mean, that's just too much to tell in the story, which they could do it. But to me, you're right. Why are we going to go do this again? So then it would have to be Cody and KO.
Well, it's a power struggle right now between Roman and Cody. It is an absolute power struggle. And how you fix this power struggle is them going one-on-one for the third time. So for me, the way they're telling the story right now, only today, it could change this Friday on SmackDown. It could change next Friday on SmackDown. It can change after Bad Blood. But right now, to me, the underlining story is Roman and Cody 3. To me, that's what's at the underbelly of all this. So if that is the first step to everything else that may happen, and everything else being the need for Heyman to come back, the need for Roman to get his bloodline together, all that kind of stuff, then that finish will probably needs to be Solo taking the pin at Bad Blood. So I think that finish at Bad Blood is going to tell us a lot about what's next.
Right.
Who takes the pin,
right.
I think it's going to tell us a lot about who's next. If Roman takes the pin, he's not getting Cody next.
Yeah.
If Cody takes the pin, that blows everything up.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Cody takes the pin, why would, like, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
So, damn it, I think Solo is going to take the pin again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor Solo.
I think we all agree, and it's probably the first time ever for something this hot. Jake, we all agree, Jacob is not losing. He better not. Jacob better not lose. So.
No, because if you're saving him and Roman for WrestleMania, they still go with Rock and Cody, that needs to be big enough to main event night one.
Mm-hmm.
And with Jacob losing before WrestleMania, it won't be.
I'm telling you guys, we got to slow down with this stuff. Y'all got to slow down when we talk about this, man. We got to get Roman and Solo. We got to. We have to get that match.
Okay.
Period. We got to get that match, period. And Solo loses again. If Solo loses again, it takes away from that eventual match. So we're going to get Cody Roman at some point, but there's so many other things we need to get to before that are equally important and maybe more so important until that happens. Like, right? We got to get Solo Roman. Can you think about the personal issue between those two that started a year ago, right? We can go back to the video packages of Solo looking at the red necklace. I'm not going to try to mess with the name of that, Ulafalo, whatever it is. Looking at the red necklace, right? The insubordination at time that Solo gave on Roman. Like, we got to get those two in the ring, and maybe not the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, but we got to get them in a meaningful matchup. And you lose a little something if Solo keeps losing big matchups before that. Just like we got to eventually get The Rock in there. Like, right, The Rock's been away, but he's going to come back to play. The final boss has to arrive at some point, and where is he going to stand, right? You don't bring The Rock back, the final boss character back, and have him try to interrupt a major story like they try to do for WrestleMania 40.
Look at you now.
Right? We got it. Like, when the final boss comes back, there has to be a ready-made plan for him. And there has to be, because we kind of think that he's been pulling the strings or he's been in Solo's ear this whole time, right? And what better story to tell than that? And who does Rock go after first? Is it Roman or is it Cody? Now, the last interaction we had with Rock was him talking to Cody, so we feel like we got to get that match.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. It has to be Cody and Rock, because that was when Rock left. He said, "Can I hold it?" Yo, hold what? But can I hold it?
You know what you're talking about. Don't be nasty. Or was The Rock, is Jacob his guy and not Solo? And that comes to find out.
Well, that's possible too, but that's another thing that you can slowly get to as well. That's not something that you can just blow up within, because like what they can do, right? The next Roman match could be the feud with Solo. That's what I would do. If I got the book, I'm gonna book Solo strong so I can have his eventual match with Roman. Roman overcomes Solo again, right? All right, now Solo's in trouble because he's lost his world title opportunities. He's potentially lost the head of the table crown by letting Roman win again. Rock is in the ear like, Jacob, you gotta do what needs to be done. Like, right now, Jacob is the guy, and maybe Solo is back in a subservient role. Maybe he's kicked out, and now we get to Roman and Jacob Fatu. Maybe Roman overcomes that obstacle, and that's how we eventually get to Roman and Rock at some point.
They knew what they had in Jacob when they signed him, because they signed him. But do you guys think they knew how good he was going to be this quick? When I say they, I'm talking Triple H, the office, the head writers, because it just, his presentation has been fantastic, but his work, I think I'm even pleasantly surprised about how good he's been. Like, he completely overshadows everybody in the bloodline in a good way. Like, you're watching, you're like, oh, he's the guy. I mean, Tama Tonga's been fantastic too, but it's just some.
Tama's good.
He has it. Do you think they knew? Do you think this is all the plan? I guess is what I'm saying. Like, do you guys feel like they knew when they brought Jacob in? Jacob is going to be the person that everybody's looking at more so than even Solo.
I believe they absolutely wanted that. So yes, but the same thing though with Solo. Solo came up from NXT pretty quick, and he kind of grew into the shadow, from out of the shadow to. I was gonna say
you say he grew into the draws.
Yeah, I was gonna say draws, but I was like, let me.
We gotta coin that. You gotta grow in them draws, brother.
You gotta grow in them draws. Oh, I'll just say on that thing. I'm like, okay, we gotta grow in your draws. You little boy, now you gotta go into your big bag draws. And he did. And of course, we questioned, was it SummerSlam, right? Yeah. SummerSlam. Is he going to be main event feel? Is he going to give us that? Because we know hell Cody is. So are we going to be able to feel that from him? Now, the match itself, we kind of, on. But again, what we saw last Friday was incredible. Or 2 Fridays ago at this point was incredible. I think same thing. I think their thinking with Jacob was absolutely he has this passion about him that's electric. Again, part of, I guess, like what's bred in a Samoan wrestler. And then he can wrestle and go in the ring. So now it's going to be, how is he going to talk on the mic when we get there? And hey, he'll learn when he get there. But I think they all wanted that. I think that's the reason why we saw him positioned at the spot that we seen him in, and how they've protected him since then.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like everything's going by design, by the way he debuted and the way they've kind of, I don't know, protected is the word for it, but the way they've kind of slowly showcased him as a threat and his moves. And he's the guy that kind of has, he always has like that move that finishes like a beatdown, right? If it's his moonsault, the top rope, etc. You can tell from day one, they're always been pulling him away from Roman. They haven't had those guys touch to where you can tell at this point, just as fans watching wrestling for a long time, when you're like, okay, they're intentionally keeping Roman and Jacob away from each other, right? And like, so it seems like everything has been leading to this moment, which is why I think that we can potentially get a Jacob Roman match at some point, but we got to get there. What do you think, Matt?
Man, I think he's superseding expectations.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
And I remember that report that came out. We kind of scoffed at it a little bit. They were worried about Jacob overshadowing Solo when he debuted. I think that's happened to a certain extent, but that's the money match. That is where the money is. When him and KO went at it for like those 32 seconds or whatever it was on SmackDown, I was like, boy, we didn't talk about it on last podcast. I think the information came out after the podcast. We didn't talk about KO's contract status on the last podcast, did we?
No, not to my recollection.
Word came out that his contract is up and he hasn't re-signed yet. And I know I said on X, there's a world where I could see KO easily leaving, because what is it more for him to do in WWE? Outside of being comfortable and enjoying working there, there's nothing more for KO to do, right? So if he wanted to go to AEW, be with his other set of friends, he could do that and work a whole new crop of talent that he hasn't had a chance to work with in however long it's been, a decade or so. And then I kind of thought back to SmackDown. I'm like, well, if it was me and he doesn't re-sign, he's not going to re-sign, have him and Jacob go at it in a match, and you have Jacob, of course the match still be competitive, but you have Jacob blow through him, leave him laying, and then that's the way he goes out. I think that would be a good send off. But
let's stay with KO for a second, to be honest with you. I see those, like, if you're KO and he's in his late 30s, right? And he got a son, man. His son remind me of y'all's son, man. Like all of a sudden, these dudes is out of nowhere. This group,
No, his son's like 7 foot tall.
Dude,
yeah,
like what?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, there's a world to where that man could be in the performance center in another couple of years, right? There's a chance. So if you're KO, you're in the environment that you love, like your best friend's there. You're like your son could easily be recruited down to NXT. Like right now, he's not going to like KO he has a great spot. He's a guy who we believe, the fans believe, that he can be a world champion at any time. Like, right? He always plays that upper card to main event slot, right? And he's doing it in front of hot crowds, right? You know they're going to probably pay him. He's probably already, I think he's probably a millionaire now. I think he got paid pretty well in his last contract, right? Mm-hmm. He'll probably get a nice raise. Why would he leave that to go to AEW, right? And we're seeing what they do with some of the other talent that's gone there. Now, Ricochet is in a different position than KO, right? Like Ricochet never reached the heights that KO did in WWE, and probably never will as currently instituted. Like, right? So Ricochet has something to prove, right? And that style is probably better suited for him. KO, on the other hand, is in an excellent position late in his career to make great money in front of great crowds, hot crowds, right? And then, like I said, his son can potentially join the company at some point in time too. But why would you give that up to go there, right?
One, if his son doesn't want to come, and two, if KO want to change the scenery. I'm from the thinking that KO, if he's going to say wrestling, say WWE. That's my thinking. But maybe his son doesn't want that, and maybe he doesn't want it.
Hey, because it made more sense for KO to leave on his last time his contract went up. Yeah. Like, right? When shitbag Vince was still there, right? Mm-hmm. It made more sense for him at that point. He's a little bit younger too, right? To make that decision to go to AEW at the time, because they were a little bit hotter during that time period. And I'm pretty sure Tony was paying people well then as well. So it made more sense a couple of years ago, right? To kind of go to a new environment, and, you know, the company was hot and crowds were live, etc. And now the tables have turned. Darkness.
Yeah, I don't care
Darkness
what he does. I'm there for it either way. If he wants to stay in WWE, as a fan, honestly, I would want him in AEW more than WWE. Because he has done everything. Like him winning another world championship, in WWE doesn't do anything for me. Mm-hmm. I've seen every feud that I want to see out of KO right now. I have in WWE. Like, if we get the Cody one, okay, cool, but we've seen it, right? Like, it would be fun for me just to see him with a completely blank canvas and him being able to wrestle and work exactly how KO would want to wrestle and work. That would be fun for me. You brought up Ricochet, E. I know Rhodesia has it. Have you heard he was on Talk is Jericho, and I stopped listening to Talk is Jericho a long time ago. But there was somebody had like quote tweeted one of his, or they quoted him in a tweet earlier today. And I was like, oh shit, he's on Talk is Jericho. Let me listen to it. Have y'all heard this interview?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, it doesn't matter who goes on the show. I don't listen to it. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really have a huge problem with Jericho. It's just at some point, I just stopped being a fan of his. I don't like listening to him.
I stopped listening months
ago. I don't know what it is.
And I think it coincided with when I got tired of his TV work.
His TV work, yeah.
One ain't got nothing to do with the other.
Mine was the public of opinion when all that stuff was happening last year about him and women and stuff. So I think that's probably when I subconsciously stopped caring. And then you add on top of it's a teaching moment on
the learning tree.
It's a teaching
moment. I don't have a problem with any of his characters. I think it's actually interesting. He comes up with these characters, but it's just, I don't know, man. Like he just don't do it for me, man. I'm good on Jericho.
It's a teaching moment is nuts.
But what stood out to you though?
Such a fascinating interview, man. Tongue in cheek, he hated his time he hates WWE. Like, he doesn't hate WWE, but he was talking about, one, he would have never signed to WWE if AEW was around when he left Lucha Underground. That was kind of telling. I mean, he got into some really good stuff. It was not a bashing of WWE. He kind of just said, but it was for me, it was fascinating to hear him talk about him leaving was like a no-brainer. Like it wasn't anything like that. He talked about, and a lot of it, a lot of his stories was around Vince time. He's telling a story surrounding, he was about to go to Vince and just say, I want to quit. I don't want to be here anymore. And he said he's walking down the hallway and he's about to go tell Vince, like, man, I want to get out of here. Like, nobody enjoys being here. So, of course, we know this time, period. And I think he said he talked to one of the agents or he saw on the video monitor in the back that he's getting the Intercontinental Championship shot the next week. Because he's like, they're not doing anything with me. He kept talking a lot about, I'm the guy that makes everybody else look good. You know, I don't win. I'm the guy that makes everybody else look good. And then he even made a comment a couple times about like, that's on me though. Like I have to own that. Like that's my fault for like not speaking up and doing more. But it's interesting because I didn't think he had that mentality. But he talked a lot about like I was always the story for somebody else to get to the next story. He's like every story I was in, it was never about me. I was either the guy that got beat up to make that person look strong to get to somebody else, or I was the person that they beat to get the title shot from somebody else. So he talked about that. He talked about just, you know, going to AEW and being able to work a lot of the guys that are like him. So there's matches that he can do. He told a funny story with Vince where this was back when, it may have been the pandemic or maybe been before that. He lost a match. And he said that, but there was a hope spot in there where he does a move and boom, 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 bomb, bomb, bomb. He said he gets to the back and Vince is like, that was too spectacular. Like even Cena can't do that.
Pull it back, tone it down.
And he was like, okay, so that mentality of, well, Cena's the top guy and everybody has to be lower than Cena. So he said that one kind of bothered him a little bit, of course. And then he just told another funny story where he said they're going out for Raw. It was him and Cesaro. And he's like, hey, this is a 1-segment match. He's like, you guys got like 5 minutes. He's like, probably 4, including entrances. That's total, you know, bell time. He said they're in Gorilla and they're like, hey, you guys are probably about to get a second segment added to your match.
A who?
A second segment added.
Oh, okay.
He's like,
I'm
they're
thinking
in
like
Gorilla.
A second, like per second, like one.
No,
like that. Not a second.
Another segment. He's like, they're in Gorilla. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, we just did a 1-segment match. We don't want to do 2 1-segment matches back to back. Think about how fucked up this is.
Yeah.
Like, as much as we have enjoyed WWE for the longest, the way it was just ran, what other company can be ran like that? And like, there's not an issue. But I guess when you're the owner, you can do whatever. He's like, okay, so he said, so when are we going to know? He said, we'll tell you in the ring. So he said, they get to the ring. He said, referee, of course, give him the Iggy. You guys are going 2 segments. And he's like, we haven't worked on anything. He said, you know, me and Cesaro were in the ring before doors open, kind of just messing around a little bit. He's like, but Cesaro just called everything. And he's talked about, you know, how, of course, they come back from Gorilla. Vince was excited about the match. So Jericho was saying, like, maybe it was like a test from Vince to see how you would react to it. But that's nuts, man.
Yes, yeah, that's ridiculous.
But
that's setting you up for failure.
Correct, 100%. But it was a great interview. But yeah, I wanted to bring that up because from us on the outside looking in, like when the word first came out that Ricochet's contract is up and he's looking to go to AEW, we were kind of like shocked a little bit. Like, whoa, okay. It was a no-brainer for him. He's like, all right, I'm out. Peace. So that was good stuff.
I would say for Jericho, and then that's it, because I really don't, whatever. It might be a little bit of ego or maybe my recency bias, but I just remember Jericho in his last time in WWE. Yeah, he was putting other people over. Yeah, he was the stepping stone for a lot of people, but he still was over. So it's not like they buried him in the old Vince dirty way of burying somebody. Now, saying you have 2 segments in the ring, that could possibly bury you. But for me, I don't ever remember Jericho being like, kind of like how I feel about him today, toward right before the time he was about to leave. He was always still like the man, kind of like almost like the Miz, but better than the Miz. Like Miz, yeah, you know, he's probably going to lose a match, but he's going to be always entertaining and people are always going to cheer him. So I don't know, maybe that was a little bit of ego talking there.
Yeah, I mean, Ricochet made the right decision. I mean, I would have liked him to stay in WWE and them do something with him because he's one of a kind. Like, right? Like they don't have anybody on the roster that can do what he does at the level they do. And Chipbag Vince, I think, held him down because he wasn't his cup of tea. Like, right? He's a smaller guy, can't really, he's not a promo guy either. He's not a larger than life personality. That wasn't his wheelhouse, right? Now we're hoping that once Triple H got him, he'll be able to do a little bit more with them. But it was telling for me as a Ricochet fan that SummerSlam match in Detroit. Yeah, Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, yep.
Yep. Like, Logan Paul beat his ass. And we thought, okay, maybe this might be, so they can kind of give Ricochet something else to do, right? Because he showed he can have a little bit of fire. He gave Logan Paul a good match. What's next for Ricochet? And there was nothing.
That next Monday was even more telling than the match.
Yep.
When we like, okay, so you have your girlfriend repeat his name and like you don't come for his ass?
Yeah. Like had another form. So now that, so when you think, that's when I knew like, okay, like nothing's going to change for him. So I hope that he does well. Like he had I actually, I have not watched Dynamite in the past couple weeks. I hadn't actually missed it actually. But I did see his interview that he had backstage, and he showed some good fire in his promo. So hopefully we're gonna get an improved Ricochet pretty soon.
Yeah, actually, I didn't go back to watch Dynamite last week either. I am going to watch Grand Slam. We were recording during Grand Slam. I'm going to stay off of social media because I do believe we may get a surprise during that show. So I actually probably will watch right after we get done recording because I didn't see it. I got something for you real quick, before we get to Jey Uso. Got a question that came in on YouTube. And actually, Ricochet is one of my answers. That's why I thought it would be a great place to put it here. Ghost Ronnie, T1285, says, love the show. Appreciate that, Ghost Ronnie. He said, not sure if you saw the last UFC pay-per-view at the Sphere, but what do you think a WWE show looks like there? Second question was, what wrestler do you think should have got a WWE championship that never had it or didn't have it long enough? He gave 3 answers. He said, Mr. Kennedy, Jeff Hardy, Bray Wyatt. I know you don't watch UFC, so I don't think you saw the Sphere. So definitely take the second question. I'll take the first question.
You said didn't have a championship?
Either didn't have it or didn't have it long enough.
And he had Jeff Hardy as an answer. Jeff Hardy actually had a run with the championship. His last run in the company against CM Punk, I believe he had the championship. And he would have had it longer had he not decided to leave. That was a very interesting time period for him too, because Jeff Hardy was like the man during that time period. I thought he was going to be the next guy at that moment because he had the crowd rocking, and he, awesome charisma. He was doing actually some pretty good mic work at the time too. Mm-hmm. This is what I like when I think about like Ricochet. Like you're gonna bring up Ricochet. I felt like Jeff Hardy and Ricochet were kind of like in a equal, like same boat. But I think during that time period, I think Jeff Hardy stepped up on the microphone in his character work, because during that time period, he told some nice, because he wasn't a promo guy, and I wouldn't say he would ever be a promo guy, but yeah, he told some decent promos, and he was able to tell some nice stories with CM Punk during that time period, and that's what Ricochet needs to do on his next run. He needs to continue to be that showcase wrestler, but also stand out in the mic and character segments.
He made a comment about that too. He talked about, he was like, I would send in videos, I would cut my own promos online, and they were kind of just like, hey, that's cool, but we got you plotted as like our high flyer. Like, you are our high flyer. You are the high flyer. That's all we kind of want from you. That's all we need from you. That's your spot. And he's like, hey, I get if people need their spots and everybody has a spot. I get that. But he's like, I just felt like I always could contribute more.
He wants more.
He's like, either they didn't see that in me or I didn't do enough to, put myself out there for. But yeah, he talked about that too.
Well, kudos to him, because that's when it's time for you to go, right? You're not complacent. I want more, but I'm not given the opportunity to get more. So yeah, definitely is smart for him to leave. I want to say someone who's I'm gonna go back deep. Someone who hasn't gotten the world championship. I don't know that's what we're talking about. Who didn't get the world championship? Mr. Perfect back in the day, man.
Like ding, ding, ding.
Like I don't know.
Ding, ding.
Because there's only one championship, right? That was during Hulk Hogan's run. Like, so I don't know how he could have, captured the championship back then. But for him not to be a world champion in WCW or the WWF back in the day, I'll put Mr. Perfect over Scott Hall, because he's another one, right? Razor never won the championship either, right? So I will go Mr. Perfect over Scott Hall, but wow. Now, if this was 2024, both of them dudes would have multiple championships by now, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But those are the two people I had, man. I had Scott Hall, I had Mr. Perfect. Especially Mr. Perfect, because Mr. Perfect is one of the reasons why we hold the Intercontinental Championship in such high regard as we do now. Along with Scott Hall, right? Along with Bret Hart, along with Shawn Michaels, but at least Bret and Shawn had a run with the world title. Back in the day, it's more around Perfect's time, not really Scott Hall's time, but like Hogan had the world title lock. Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, right? Whatever major heel at the time, Sergeant Slaughter, whoever, right? Just for Hogan to beat. They had the world title on lock. So like for us as fans, that Intercontinental Championship, when you had Rick Rude fighting for, like you had so many like fantastic guys just fighting for the Intercontinental Championship. But those were two, and then Ricochet was my third. I go back to, I will never forget when they signed Ricochet, and I think he hadn't made it to the main roster yet. He was still in NXT. I remember The Rock just doing an Instagram post about him, and he just put in there future world champion. And I remember I was like, that is such a massive cosign, because Rock don't typically do that, especially back then when he really wasn't around wrestling like that. Yeah. And then just to kind of see him not win the championship at all, it's like, damn, man. But somebody who did win the championship, Monday night, talking about Mr. Perfect, talking about Scott Hall. I'll be damned, Jey Uso did it. Jey Uso had a interview a little bit ago where he talked about the Intercontinental Championship is the championship that he wants. He don't even want the World Championship. That's the champion that he loved watching when he was growing up, et cetera, et cetera. I've watched the video of him winning probably 6 or 7 times. And you talk about like what this game is about. That moment is what this game is about. And then just seeing like the congratulatory messages, seeing hell, he broke down and cried. He had an interview. Actually, I think you got the interview on the soundboard if you want to pull it up, and then we can kind of get reactions to the match and Jey winning. But this was posted by WWE right after the match. Jackie Redmond caught him while he was in the crowd, and this is just a quick promo that he cut. Play that beautiful bean footage.
Jey Uso, you have been in WWE for over a decade, but tonight marks a first. Congratulations on becoming the new Intercontinental Champion, Jey Uso. My guy, how does it feel to hear those words?
Hey. Hey.
And at this point, he's fight back tears.
Where's he at? In the ring still? Or in the crowd? In the crowd, I mean, yeah.
You gotta get the YouTube.
That was him. Yeah.
I deserved it. No. First of all, though, I appreciate everyone who's been on my journeys. Yeah. I'm happy it happened in front of my home state, California. Hey, and I promise I'm a big believer, though, in hard work will always pay off. Kids, though, good grades, kids. Listen to your parents. Say your prayers, man. And I swear, your dreams will come true. Just like
Wait,
my
is he
first
being a hypocrite?
championship. You're a new Intercontinental Champion. And if you're down with Jey Uso being the new IC champ, then let me hear you say, yeah.
Good for him, man. Like, how incredible was that? Like, just for him to be able to, that's real emotion. You know, like, those are the moments where this the whole thing that we watch and is a major part of our life because we love it so much, that is a completely scripted entertainment television show and product. But when stuff like that happens, man, it can't get any more real. It is more real than anything in the world when that happens. So just kudos to that. And Ghost Ronnie, I haven't forgot your first question. We're gonna get back to that after we talk about Jey Uso. But thoughts? Jey winning the IC championship.
Man, up until the beginning of the show, I'm like, oh, he ain't winning that. So for this to happen, I was blown away. Because again, when he got the 3 count, I'm like, oh shit, he won it. He's a champ. So I was just more shocked. I really was legitimately shocked because I thought that this is not where it was going to go. But again, one more thing, not calling this the Bloodline story, but one more thing where it's touching that family that I'm just like, again, surprised. So that's why I'm just going to, at this point, because I was hell bent that Jey was going to lose. At this point, anything to do with that family or a bloodline, I'm just going to sit back and just watch.
Hey, we did it.
Yes.
I said we did it.
Yes.
I say we did it.
Yes.
I feel like he's having sex, though.
We did it. See, in Triple H, we trust. I told y'all, like, look, they need to go ahead and put the belt on this man because he's one of the most popular guys in that company, right? You got Roman, you got Cody, you got Jey Uso moving the merch numbers, moving the attendance. He got the crowd rocking. Like, you got to do something with this. He can't be the guy that keeps losing in the big moments. Just like I was saying, it was Solo. Like, at some point, people stop believing in you. And that would have been a shame that someone got that high and he went from being a tag team wrestler, because he's one of those stories, like, right, where a career tag team wrestler, probably if you would say 5 years ago, you would say, oh, I would never see Jey Uso in this position, right? But he is truly main event Jey Uso. He has the crowd and that audience in the chokehold right now. Super proud that he's able to do that. I think that his reign, along with Gunther, even Bron, I think they brought a lot of respectability to that, a secondary championship. When you talk about like a secondary championship, we think about that IC title, and we talk about that run that we experienced when we were kids, Matt. You know, like late 80s to probably like the, you know, into the Attitude Era.
Yeah,
like, right. That
96,
IC title,
97 was still super strong. Yep.
That secondary title, that IC title, meant something, right? And I feel like that's when you think about like when wrestling, especially in AEW, like that's how you treat like your secondary title. It means something. Like that IC belt with him defending it. That like when you go to house shows back in the day, the IC title was the headliner. Like, right, that was like the main event, that IC title match, right? Jey Uso can main event a show as an IC champion. Like, right, he's that popular. And his championship defenses are going to mean something. So, but I also think it's going to be very interesting what that does for the bloodline. Like I said, I hope that he's interjected at some point. But now, him as champion means something much more, because when he comes there, he ain't just a cousin coming to save his big cousin. Like, no, he's a main event wrestler coming to save the day. Like, right, and I think that's going to speak volumes for him and help elevate him even more in that company.
Yep, that's why I said earlier. I even tweeted that the same thing. Like, this is not just the old Jey. This is legit main event Jey. He's a main event character now. Yeah. You have to treat him as such in this storyline. I loved it. I thought the match was super good. Then it turned into incredible toward the end.
Yeah, it started a little slow for me.
It was a little slow, but they turned it up. And what I really enjoyed with the match was, during the show, I thought Jey was going to win because of his outfit. I did.
But he wore that, I thought, last week. The pink geek.
I don't think so.
The pink geek top. At least the top.
But if he did, but he didn't wrestle. Then I knew he was going to win when Bron had him. You could say had him beat. He didn't have him beat, but Bron was putting the brakes to him. Then he got off on him on the pin and started doing push-ups in the middle of the ring.
Oh,
and I'm like,
taunt. That infamous taunt.
If you do that against somebody like Jey Uso and Bron wins, you bury Jey even more.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, oh, they're going to put the trigger on this.
But I thought that was on brand for Bron. So I see
it
your
is,
point.
but every time he does it, he loses.
I did not know that.
That was what I said on Twitter. I was talking to yesterday, a couple of different people. We were talking, and we were discussing like what's next for Bron. And some people took this as Gunther's next for Bron, or face turn is next for Bron. And I don't think either one. Maybe. I don't think so, though. I look at Bron's pattern. Bron lost to Sami Zayn because he didn't take Sami serious. Then he took Sami serious and beat Sami for the IC title.
Mm-hmm.
Bron lost to Jey because he didn't take him serious. There's a hole in Bron's game. He needs to lock in.
You need to lock in.
That story is the story I'm here for. I don't want to see him turning face. He doesn't need to be a face. He's already a baby face. Like the way the crowd reacts to him. I damn sure don't want to see him going up against Gunther right now. They bark at him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, give me the story of redemption of him knowing I'm still wet behind the ears. I'm still a rookie. I know I got these tools. This would be the perfect Paul Heyman if Paul Heyman wasn't with Roman Reigns. Oh, my God. This is the perfect move to put him with Bron so he can show him the way and all that kind of thing. I don't think that's happening. But you got your story there. Now the question is going to be, how long is this reign for Jey? Is this a long reign? I hope it's a longer reign, because if it was just a reign just to give him the title and like say it's a rematch with Bron and he beats Jey at, I don't know, Saturday night's main event, I'll be like, okay, what did we do that for? But to your point about an HB Trust, I thought about that Monday night because I watched the reaction of the crowd and how they just came up for it and they stayed up for it, and reaction to Jey and just seeing, like I said, seeing all the tweets Monday night. But then I thought to myself too, though, yeah, it's easy to say an HB Trust when it cashes in. But if it was up to us, he would have gotten something like this months ago. Mm-hmm. So it's a slippery slope, right? Yes. For the most part, under Triple H's creative, we have gotten incredible TV and gotten majority of what we want. But take LA Knight, for instance. Yep. All of us would have been put a title on LA Knight before he got the title. Now, Jey is a little bit different, though, because you don't get that reaction unless Jey lost as many times as he lost. Right? Like, you don't get the reaction for Drew cashing in at Mania if he didn't lose those 11 world title shots he had before that. So there is a thing of, and yes, this is still scripted, so you can say, yeah, they're going to lose, but we can get them their heat back. We can put them in this position and make this and that. But there is a world where if you know how to do this thing, and they're showing they do, you can get away with losing and not cashing in the moment and pushing the moment off another month, another 2 months, another 3 months. Because I know when it hits, it's going to hit. Hell, Cody Rhodes, WrestleMania. I know everybody wanted it at 39, but man, I'm telling you, when it hits, it's going to hit. And it hit. But it's them knowing what they're doing and how to maneuver things. But it was tremendous. And to your point, he can absolutely main event Monday Night Raw. Like, Gunther ain't wrestling anymore. Gunther just come out and talk shit, show promos and laugh at people and wrestle on PLEs. Yeah. So
he points and laughs, and
Jay's got his spot. He can work main event Jay, main event Raw every single week. I'm here for it.
I am 100% happy and all behind Jey winning the title. Period. Now to be devil's advocate. To play devil's advocate. Did you bury Bron? His first title defense, he loses.
Wasn't his first. He did only have the belt for 45 days or something because he won it at SummerSlam. I don't think it was. I think he had a match on Raw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Against a non-local legend.
Oh, it was definitely not a local legend.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so So then I thought that this was his first title defense. And to me, I'm like,
but to your question, I don't think that changed. I don't think that would change the answer regardless. If it was his first defense, I think your answer is the same as if it was his second or third defense in that amount of time. That is a really short stint.
It is.
But
so do y'all feel that in a way he's been buried? And buried is a strong word. So I guess maybe whatever you would use, the word you use right before buried.
No, because he can always come back and get his heat back. Like, right, he's a heel. Like when I was watching that match, I was like, man, they gotta do something with these damn spears, man. Everybody in that company got a spear. Like, right, and like so all of them look to a degree good or not, but like Bron got a hell of a one. Right, his running back and forth with rope, then he hits his. I mean, he can get his heat back in multiple different ways, right? Because actually, you think about like that monster versus monster match that we got with another Bronson,
enjoying it,
and versus the other Bron, right?
Last
Strowman.
Monster Standings coming soon, right?
I'm enjoying it.
You could see where Brian's just out of nowhere just spearing people in the backstage, right? Or just spearing people out of the crowd. Like, he can get his heat back in multiple ways if they wanted to. Now, I think that Jey losing again, I don't think burying would be a good word for it, but I think he lost some trust in the audience. I feel like if he were to get to that point again in the next match, you're like, Jey is the guy who loses the big one. And I think that will hurt his standing with the rest of the audience. Whereas Bron, he's a heel. He can get his heat back, right? He can beat somebody's ass. He can do something dastardly, do something to make people want to see him get his ass whooped. That's ultimately what you want to see. You want the heel. You want the heel not necessarily to be likable. You want people to pay to see him get their ass whooped, right? He can do some dastardly things to make people want to see him get his ass whooped.
I agree, for sure. Anything else on Jey?
I have a quick thought. I'll put it here because it's Bloodline related. I wanted to mention it earlier at a step away. And then I think I heard y'all talking about Hogan kind of just had the scene on like pay-per-views and such or something like that. So then the IC person, no, Hogan just had the championship. So no one else was touching it. So it made me think, because you made a comment, Matt, about Mania, possibly Roman and Jacob could be powerful enough to main event night 1. And you get something like a Cody and The Rock night 2. I'm going to say this. I don't think the world is ready for another 2-night main event Bloodline. I think they will shit on it.
Oh, I don't. Well,
I think so.
I don't.
Because they got heat last year. And it's the 2 greatest things that we've ever had in modern history.
Who didn't?
I'm just saying.
There's always going to be people who complain. There is somebody out there who is complaining about Jey Uso winning the Intercontinental Championship. There's somebody out there who's complaining that the promo with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes was too cinematic and it was too movie-like, and this ain't the wrestling I grew up on. That is all our show has been about. We ain't talking about them. We ain't talking to them people. The hell with them.
I'm just saying, I think there will be some people. And you're right, it won't be the majority, but I do think that they will.
You can give me Cody Roman 3, night 1 or night 2, and I'm here for that.
But I said 2 nights in a row, just like how we had this time.
Yeah, and then night 2, I'm just saying, that's how invested I am in anything Bloodline related right now. If you can do what you want. God bless.
When we talk about the Bloodline and just going back to the Cody and Roman thing, think about it from like a kid's perspective. Like, Matt, when we were kids and we saw Macho Man and Hulk Hogan like together, like 2 big baby faces, man, that was like so cool to see 2 big baby faces united, because you didn't see it very often, like, right? Or even when you saw Warrior and Hogan, together, it was amazing when they were, against each other. But like when they came together, that was amazing. I bet for kids and for like that type of audience to see them together on the same page, on the same accord, I bet is huge for a big portion of the audience. And that's something they should squander. So like, I love to see more of it. Like, I would love to see like a story to where they start small, to where it's just those 2, like Cody Roman, like, right? But at first we got to come together because like, what is the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
Yeah.
Like, right. That's where they are right? But then once the smoke clears and all the other obstacles, once Rock is gone, once Solo's out of the way, once Jacob's out of the way and the dust settles, it's Roman across from Cody. And they're like, yo, okay, I respect, because at that point, they're going to have like a healthy respect for each other, along with that, maybe the animosity, right? We got to settle this. You think it's your company. I say it's my company. We're going to prove it at WrestleMania 41.
Look at him booking the territory. Where's 41? Do we know where 41 is yet? No,
Atlanta, Georgia.
No, 41?
That would be great if it was.
41.
That's the one I would come to.
I do want to get to that football stadium. I'm sorry, 41 is next year.
It's Vegas. Yeah, 41 is Vegas.
I'm thinking
42.
My bad. 42.
Yep. I do want to get to that football stadium. Get back to you. I just wanted to pivot because we were talking about the whole championship thing, and that led to, of course, IC. And yeah, you missed that. You were gone. Post Ronnie asked, you saw it, Rhodesia. He said UFC, which I don't miss UFC pay-per-views. So anybody who is a UFC fan, if you ever want to talk UFC, of course, hit us up on X. That's FNW, YouTube comments.
I've made a lot of money off of UFC.
How much have you made, Rhodesia?
Don't do that, though, man.
Exactly. He said, not sure if you saw the last UFC pay-per-view at the Sphere, but what do you think a WWE show would look like there? So, Rhodesia, you saw the UFC show.
We're going to go a whole nother level. So I didn't even see the beginning of it. It was like maybe celebration of Mexican Independence Day.
Yep.
And so I didn't get to see it like live. So after the show, maybe even the next morning, I found it somewhere on the internet, the actual beginning package of it, and watching it, and holy hell, it reminded me honestly back in the day in grade school when we first went to the IMAX theaters, when that was like the first like new technology. And I just remember how big the picture was and how just amazing it was, almost like fantastical almost. So when I saw that, I'm like, this is just, I was getting goosebumps the next morning watching this just on playback on my phone. To answer your question
chills.
now, yeah, super chills. Now, as far as what WWE can do, that plus more. Just because WWE has been more of a storytelling, we've seen even with Roman and Cody, cinematic type feel and vibe. UFC has been pretty much just serious and just behind the scenes and their camps and such like that. We've seen when WWE have layers of different types of ways of telling a story and production wise. So I would love to see what we saw for the Mexican Independence Night there for UFC, but even more. I would actually expect a little bit more. But if we got what I saw in UFC, chef's kiss. Now, I don't know how it would feel having the ring there, but I'm just talking about just like the screens itself. That vibe would probably make it feel so intimate, probably, and intense. And I don't know the seater, how many people could sit there or fit in that arena, but I think it would be incredible.
When Dana White said this can be the biggest and best event you've ever seen, I completely took that as just promoter talk. Because we come from wrestling where everything's bigger than life. We come from WWE wrestling where the production is WrestleManias, where it's the best production. It supersedes the Super Bowl and NBA Finals and anything else that is out there. WWE does a better job of producing that. So when I heard that, I'm like, all right, man, like we just going to get the fighters, staring at each other or something on the big screen and that's it. They completely blew me away with what they did. It also cost a hell of a lot of money too. There was some numbers out there of how much it cost to produce that show. So he did say it was a one-time thing, never again. I think they would have to go back. I mean, I think that's something that WWE's probably fighting with too, though. The amount of money that they would have to charge to make money now. If you run that kind of show. Real quick? Yeah.
What are you spending money for if the technology is done?
The rent. And you still need to use the technology they have. So you have to shoot things correctly and things of that nature. It's a whole thing.
Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
But it would be the best thing that we would ever see as wrestling fans. It would be the best thing we have ever seen. So yeah. So that's what I think, man. I think it would be incredible. I was hoping they were going to run SmackDown and Monday Night Raw there this year for WrestleMania.
I can't afford those tickets.
You can't afford WrestleMania tickets. But you're going. Never puts me over. You see, every single time she does this. But I'm scared of these WrestleMania tickets, these prices. But we're going anyway. All right, couple quick hits, and then we up out of here. I want to start with Big E. He had a interview, I guess today, said that he's getting scans in the next 3 to 6 months. If the doctors say he's healthy to go back, then he will sit down and talk about a return to pro wrestling. He said, I'm just taking every day as it comes. I know that sounds cliche, but I get scans again in another 3 to 6 months. If they look great and doctors say it's healthy for me to go back, then there's something where we'll sit down and talk about it. But I try not to spend too much time worrying about things I can't control. It's nice to know that if I get the opportunity to get back in the ring and I can do it healthily, then let's do it. Let's attack it fully. But if not, I know exactly what I want to do, and I'm excited about that path too. So it's great. It sounds like he has a backup plan. I don't think we really have much here, but just we want him back. As long as he's healthy, as long as he's happy, it would be great to see him under this WWE environment.
We talk about this all the time. This is just another validation in exhibit A, B, C, D, and E. Pro wrestling is hard on the body. He's in his mid upper 30s, and he's possibly wanting to come back to go through that pain again because they love it so much. And it doesn't go without saying what they give to us in their art. Unlike some other art forms, they don't have to physically hurt themselves. That right there is just a prime example that while you have been successful, I think, since you haven't been wrestling, I see you all the time still. You probably could still make a good, decent living doing other things. But because you love this thing called pro wrestling so much, you are willing to possibly come back and get back in the ring and put your body through more pain.
I thought kind of the different about him because he had been talking about his health for some time, and he's a I might say incorrect, minimalist.
Okay, no, that's right.
Right, he's one of those, right? So he has rooms with just nothing on the walls. Right?
I would love that.
Right, he's he's one of the guys who doesn't watch TV all the time. And he's one of the guys who saves his money. He's like, hey, I would love to get back in the ring, but not at the expense of my health. Right, I have a long life to live. I'm not going to rush getting back in the ring for a feeling if I'm not right. And so that's how he's approached it. He's been very patient this entire time, right? I think that if this was another guy, I think they would have been in the ring probably some time ago. Right? But he's taking it one day, and he should, right? Because his neck and his health is something he should play with. And he is very young, right? He doesn't want to be in his 40s and 50s, in pain every day. Kudos to him because and living the lifestyle he lives, he probably has saved his money very well that he can be comfortable. He's educated. He's well-spoken. There's multiple avenues that he can kind of take. But I would love to see him back in the ring to kind of, and also back in the storyline to slap some sense, into Xavier.
No, you had it
and
right.
Get this
Kofi.
And get this thing together. Right? No. We see right now that the X is the problem. X is the problem.
Kofi's still the problem. You see, Kofi says all about you. Look, Kofi says all about you, but he got the pancakes on deck. Get out of here, man.
Come
on now.
Look.
I know I'm manipulating when I see him manipulate.
And Ray.
And he's absolutely manipulator.
But we want to talk about who's the real heel. Y'all keep on trying to get on my man Cody. It's not Cody. It's Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio
and LWO all of them.
Man, I almost lost my shit, Rhodesia. Man, when they
you should have texted me.
Oh my god, because I think I was watching it late. Man, look, I almost lost. They still dragging this thing out. Get rid of these dudes. I'm like, get these people away from them.
I'm never gonna admit this again out loud. I popped when Rey Mysterio jumped the barricade.
Oh shit!
I ain't gonna lie, I did pop. Yeah, I did pop.
To be there. And then the match just kept going like nothing happened. I told y'all episode 3 he was a heel, but y'all ain't want to listen to me.
No, he's a deadbeat. Yeah, deadbeat dad. Okay.
She's in the news. She said she did not like how the chairman talked to her on her last day she left WWE.
Who's the chairman?
She left for many reasons. A lot of personal stuff happened with myself and the chairman at the time. I didn't like how he talked to me and how I was talked down to. That day, he talked to me a little crazy. It was enough for my source of light to come into my body and go, if you stay, that's not okay.
That ain't nothing new. But we knew that. You talking about the night that her and Naomi left?
Mm-hmm.
We all figured that.
And she finally did the right thing. Good job, Mercedes. She learned from her first question about her going back to WWE. And she's like, of course I'll be back there. Like, this is just a time period where I'm not. They asked her again. I think she was on the Breakfast Club. And she said, after the way the AEW has been treating me, I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like I have the best relationship with AEW right now. And it's legit.
PR.
I'm living my dreams. And it's the best place I've ever been mentally and physically to be able to have new dreams after being in the industry for 14 years. It's the best feeling in the world. So AEW is my home right now. Excellent answer, Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do it, baby. That is how you do it. Yep.
That's what she should have said the first time.
That's definitely what she should have said the first time. Last thing, NXT thing from the USA Network to the new UPN.
Yes.
AKA
starting this
the
Tuesday.
CW starting this Tuesday.
Chicago.
We will be in the building for that. I want to ask you guys, they've loaded this show. And I think it was super smart. Their plan is they want to get 1 million viewers. I don't really want to talk ratings talk because who knows what that looks like with CW. So that's not my question. But we got the street fight. We have Miz TV. We have the NXT Women's Championship. We have the NXT Men's Championship with CM Punk being a special guest referee. And so they can ensure they go viral. And anybody who typically watches CW that have no idea what NXT is, or Data Parker and Lola Vice is tag teaming together. So they have crossed every single T. They've dotted every single I on this show. They give you anything you possibly can want in a wrestling show. What do you guys think about overall the card? And do you think that card is going to bring new eyeballs to people who don't watch NXT that maybe will give it a shot that next week and the next week?
New eyes for people who don't watch NXT. Sure, absolutely. If you're open to watching pro wrestling, absolutely think so. They stacked that card as it was a big fight card feel, like they're WrestleMania almost, as far as who is going to be showcased. I was just so excited to see what they're doing with Stephanie. We could talk about this next week or however that shows up, but the way we saw just the production of seeing Roxanne, seeing Julia, in no way, shape, or form did I even think. I completely forgot about Stephanie. She was in the headlines for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden, all right, good. They gave us a good go-home show for Tuesday, and you just see her on the screen. Bravo to them. So for me, I'm excited for that card, but I am really, really excited to see what's going to happen next with this women's championship. And I'm not even saying who do I want to win the women's championship. I'm more excited what's going to happen after this match.
Isn't Sexy Red going to be on the show too? Or was that the show after next?
That's St. Louis. Yeah, that's next week.
Okay. Yeah. That's why you do it, man. Like you load up that card. You try to write the first episode on the first show, and you know you're going to get potentially. This is what I was talking about, like all these shows. Like when CM Punk came back to Raw for the first time, man, load that show up because you're going to get people who are just tuning in for the first time in years, or you're gonna, people who may not normally watch the show because they're curious, right? It's curiosity seekers, right? I said the same thing with the Mercedes Mone with her first show. Load those shows up because you're getting eyeballs who don't normally watch those programs, right? And you want to keep as many of them, like a lot. Look, if they get 1 million, right, they're not gonna keep 1 million next week, all right? But maybe they can keep 800,000. Right, and that's a significant upgrade. Like you want to retain as many eyeballs as possible, and you want to continue to build on that. So yeah, kudos to them building that card up. It's gonna be interesting. I'm hoping we get a Ricky Starks like sighting on the show. Like we haven't heard his name in the stories. We haven't heard he's signed. But I'm hoping this is the reason why it's been dead silences, because we get a surprise on the show. I want to see Ricky back on my TV. I'm chomping at the bits, so to say. Chomping at the bits. Hey, great. Real quick, I know that doesn't relate to what you said, though, but did you hear that Lucha Brothers reportedly haven't signed? Did you hear that?
Yeah, they said, allegedly they have not signed yet, but then WWE gave the green light for merch ideas and to start the merch. So that's interesting. Same thing with Tony Stark. Ricky Stark. They're saying he's still signed to AEW. Like he's not unsigned. He is still signed to AEW. So that's going to be interesting I don't know. And then the word came out today. Well, it's not really word because it's a while from now, but AJ Styles' contract is up either late this year or early next year. Personally, don't care. He's another one for me where it's like he's done everything in the world to do in WWE. If he wants to go to AEW and have some matches that he's super excited about, I love it. If he wants to stay in WWE, cool. I'm good either way with him. So when we're getting a lot of those kind of people, and which is normal because they've done everything. Like now you're talking about legit legends in the sport. He's done everything he wants to do. You know, so but his contract is going to be up soon. Like there's a lot that's kind of out there right now.
Miro wants out of his contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, I think he's under contract to like 2026. Like, dude,
God, dog.
you could at least wait until last year.
Look, you know, the rumor is he's getting paid 7 figures and he's only wrestled 11 matches in the past 2.5 years.
Yeah, man. How about this? Hold on a second.
Hey. Let me get that kind of contract, please.
Because you brought this up, and this is off the cuff too. I had tweeted this out, but I gotta play it, so it's not on the soundboard. But Miro was talking about Dave Meltzer. And Miro is now one of my favorite wrestlers in the history of the business. Now, granted, Miro, from everything I've heard, is a bitch to work with.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yep. Because what he asked for, and he's kind of like a prima donna a little bit. But this is some good stuff. He's talking about Dave Meltzer. Y'all know I'm not a Dave Meltzer fan.
Doesn't he call you that? Doesn't he call that your uncle?
We love you, Uncle Dave.
No, that's his uncle.
We love you.
That ain't my uncle. I mean, here we go.
He's gonna burn it.
Facts.
But let me tell you, once you die, most likely you're gonna go to hell because of all your lies that you've managed to say every single day about pretty much everybody.
Let him know, Miro.
Yo.
We love you, Miro. Get that man out of his contract, Tony Khan. Whatever Miro wants, Miro gets now. He just said he's going to hell.
I think he said burn in hell. I thought. Did he say that in the beginning?
He said once he dies, this is gonna be rough because he's going to hell. All right, y'all, we out of here, man. We done. That's it. That's all. It's a Rizzle Rap Pizzle Pat. Of course, we'll be back next week to give you some live thoughts on NXT, and we got to break down. We got to preview Bad Blood, the show E should be going to. Yep. He should be at because it's in his damn hometown. Yep. But he's not there.
Yeah, I'll be in my hometown watching it in my basement.
Boy, oh boy. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
In the daddy cave.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Hey, my son Ian, the youngest, he said I should no longer be Big Daddy or Fit Daddy. I should be Giant Daddy. And he gets quite angry if I don't call myself Giant Daddy. So in honor of him, Giant Daddy out.
So much to say. So little time. We'll see y'all next week. Peace. Stop it.